When you hear the word enlightenment, which is said all the time in society now, it's written about in books, talked about on radio shows, talked about on television shows, what does that mean to you? And is there more than one way that a person can become enlightened? Hi, I'm David Essel. Well, the first time I heard of that term, it had to be about 30 years ago, and it was described to me by a teacher as something that only a few people on this planet could ever reach. This awakening is the way it was described to me. This incredible awakening where bliss is a daily occurrence, where that we lose our desires for that of the physical world and we move into the spiritual aspect of existence, where we flow with life, where we have no attachment to the fact that life work our way or that we acquire certain physical things or emotional things. In other words, enlightenment back then to me was described as something that very few people are ever going to achieve, and when they do, they're going to be in this blissed out state 24/7. Well, over the years, I've been exposed to many different teachings on the concept of awakening, enlightenment, or ascension. Some people use it then, and other people even call it born again, which we'll get into on a different video. But I wanted to talk about the two different ways in which we become enlightened in life. The first one, and to define enlightenment, it's living at a higher transcendental level in life. In other words, what was told me was really true, is that the day-to-day stressors to someone who has become enlightened become non-existent. In other words, they have a tendency to move through. I remember Ram Dass, a great spiritual teacher, once explaining it like when we go to the airport and there's a lot of traffic, that in the past we might have looked at our watch and said, "Oh my Lord, I'm going to be late for this flight." And the enlightened person says, traffic. Or maybe someone's in a relationship and they're going down the same road for an argument. In the past, they would have walked away from their partner saying, "I can't believe we're in the same stuck place again." And the enlightened person would step back for a second and go, argument with partner. So it's kind of like this amazing ability to rise above the daily stressors of life and to live at another level. Now, sometimes people say, is this available to anyone? And, my answer to that is yes. How do I know that to be true? It's a feeling I have, a very, very deep feeling. And let me tell you the multiple ways in which I have seen people go down that road of enlightenment. The first way is what many times people refer to as instant enlightenment. And that is where maybe through a near-death experience, they go to that crossover between this life and the next. They see the light. They choose to come back, and they're forever changed. They decide to devote themselves to human causes. They decide to devote themselves maybe even to becoming a recluse as a monk or in a monastery type of a setting to pray and to be one with the divine. Oftentimes people that go through near-death experiences, their whole approach to the physical world changes. Another way is through a spiritual experience. Some people will go to a monastery or they'll go on some type of a pilgrimage, and through the experience they will become one with the divine, and that experience will stay with them. And once again, they may devote themselves to the betterment of humanity, or they may become reclusive as well. The people make all kinds of choices, it seems like, once they've reached this level. And that's sort of that instantaneous way. Some people will say that through a spiritual experience of being a strung out heroin addict on the street, that they have a spiritual experience, they become enlightened, they ascend, they awaken, and from that second forward have never ever had a desire or a need to use any substance whatsoever. It was like instantaneously that they were healed. And in that healing mode now, they become the quote-unquote Mother Teresas of the world, and their only desire is to help others to heal. So that's one form, and I'll say from my experiences in life, it's a very rare form of enlightenment. So that's one. The second one is what I'm going to call the ladder approach. In other words, if we look at the rungs of a ladder, people start off and they start to build up an awakening and awareness to the divine presence within. they go on maybe a path seeking what they already have inside, but they go through all kinds of different trials and tribulations, challenges in life, and every time they rise above, whether it's a physical limitation or an illness or a mental limitation, maybe a career or financial, we talked about substances before, is that they hit a new reality and they take full accountability for everything in their lives. And every time they take full accountability and quit projecting their issues and challenges are due to the economy or the presidency or global warming or their partner or their upbringing or their whatever, is that they rise to a new level of awakening, a new level of enlightenment. And the second process, this latter approach that I'm sharing with you, seems to be the norm. It seems to be the way most people that I see continually transcending in their lives and awakening and ascending. It's the way that it happens. You know, they create an intention, if you will. They create an intention to go to that next level, and then they seek opportunities to go there. And more often than not, the opportunities come in challenges. And that's very different than the way we usually think about enlightened ones. You know, oftentimes we think of enlightened ones that instantly it happens and they're good to go for the rest of their life. But what I've seen is a progressive enlightenment amongst people. I'll share a story here. I was teaching a meditative blessing group one time, and we had about 25 people in the room. And at the end of the hour meditation, and we do this thing called a Diksha blessing, a light blessing with everyone, I asked if anyone would like to share what they experienced. And people were going through and sharing that, you know, they experienced this and they saw that, and it was amazing, the warmth they felt, it was amazing the love they felt. And there was one gentleman in the back of the room who wasn't sharing, wasn't speaking. And so at the very end, I just opened it up one more time and said, you know, if anyone would like to share, please do. And he finally raised his hand and he said, you know, I'm listening to everyone and I had quite a different experience. And I said, well, go ahead and share if you'd like. He said, well, it wasn't a very good one. And everyone turned around and looked at him. He said, as a matter of fact, in this last hour, I absolutely saw for the first time that my life is a complete mess. And there was silence for a minute. And then I looked at him and I said, and what you just experienced was a step of enlightenment. You just went up that next ladder of enlightenment. You went up the next rung of enlightenment. See, his awakening came in the most beautiful way, and this is where I think most people gradually go towards enlightenment, is that they look at the reality of life. They'll wake up and they'll go, oh my gosh, my marriage is an absolute mess. I haven't wanted to look at it. I haven't wanted to pretend it. You know, my kid's an addict. I've been pretending not to see it. I've been pretending not wanting to deal with it. I have an alcohol problem. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to deal with it. I have a shopping problem. I have a whatever. And in that moment that we acknowledge and admit that we have an area or multiple areas of life that are an absolute mess, that's, to me, is an amazing step towards enlightenment. And it is an enlightened step. So as you're watching this here, sometimes we beat ourselves up and we think that admitting that we have a serious problem is bad, and actually it's a step towards enlightenment. It is enlightenment itself. Then the next step is even more crucial, and that is once you have awareness, then we need to act on that area of life or areas of life in order to heal, to continue to rise, to ascend, to awaken to that new level. If I can help you with your ascension process, if I can help you with your awakening or awareness, I would love to. Visit us at talkdavid.com. Go ahead and send an email. Let me know how I can help you. I'm more than happy to talk to you on the phone for a few minutes. Send this out. Allow people to see that awakening, ascension, enlightenment, I believe personally, is possible for everyone. I really truly believe this, or I wouldn't be bothering doing this work that I'm doing right now here on YouTube. And if you haven't signed up for this account, please do. Sign up for it so everyone that we share goes right to your account here on YouTube itself, okay? And don't forget to share the video. I would love for you to do that. Give people hope. Give people awareness that when they're hit with a major challenge, a major struggle, that in and of itself can be the gateway to the new ascension, the new awakening, the new enlightenment. I'm David Essel. Have a great day.